the Middle East for SailGP. Want to remind you while we can, coming up, Singapore SailGP to kick off 2023. That'll be January 14th and 15th.
The course for race 6 is 7 legs. The axis is 295. Wind is approximately 20 kilometers per hour.
So good news from Melanie Roberts, the race manager across the board. Emily, that means we should have plenty of foiling. That should make for a very hectic start, Stevie and Emily, when they get to that line.
Yeah, I think what I heard there's the wind's pretty similar. The crews have had 2 goes at this race course now. So we saw that New Zealand had kind of, cracked the code, if you like, on the first start. The other fleet had learnt. So what has everyone learnt now? What's your next play? What's your next move to find that bit of space, to find that elusive, high-speed start that's going to catapult you into Mark 1 in the lead? Because if you can lead at Mark 1, it's an awful lot easier race.
I think the key word there, Stevie, was the word space. It's all about having room at the start. You can hit the line with speed, but if you've got boats in front of you in the way, you're never going to get off the line clean.
So the Americans on the inside once again. Remember that last race, they went to the far left of the screen, kind of on their own private island, and hung out, and then got to the line with full speed. 1 minute to go to the start of race number 6, and then the cut will be made. The top 3 will move on to the podium race.
We've got some very different approaches here. Australia already turned back towards the start line. New Zealand, they're out the back, as is the United States. They're planning on a big run-up. Change of strategy by Great Britain, normally leading everyone back. They're trying to stay out of trouble. Probably the only boat guaranteed a place in the final. New Zealand and Australia, it's a big fight going on with 30 seconds to go here. And New Zealand and Australia choose to lead the fleet back here with 28 seconds. They both look early towards the line. They're going to have to kill a bit of time here. Out the back, Great Britain are on the foils. Switzerland are on the foils. Pole position in the middle of the start line with 18 seconds to go. It's New Zealand, Australia and France in the middle. But can Jimmy Spittle's United States team find a gap? He's trying to jink his way through. Look for the line to turn white. That's when the start's clear to go. It's all about timing now. Spain and New Zealand in the middle of the line are tight. The whole fleet's on time. Oh, Jordi Xammar absolutely on the money there. Thread the needle, and it's going to be Spain and Great Britain leading away to Mark 1, and the rest of them, well, they're stuck in the pack fighting it out.
And just when you thought Ben Ainslie and Great Britain might play it safe and save it for the podium race, they come out with a great start. Mark number 1, it's Spain in front, Great Britain in second, France in third.
Look at the speeds on the top of the mast there, 70 kilometers an hour for the Spanish team as they're rounding the mark, while the teams behind back in the 50-kilometer-hour range.
Talk about protecting your position, Stevie. If we went back to the start, the Americans pushing Canada and Denmark, their closest rivals, to get in that final, almost off course as they protect their line.
Yeah, I mean, there's no love lost out there, Todd, that's for sure. And this first lap or so is going to be crucial. New Zealand here making a move on the Swiss. They need to get back in the race. They're behind the United States, who they were tied with. They're behind Australia, who's breathing down their neck, and France are breathing down their neck. Peter Burling's New Zealand need to make some distance, because France, they're chasing down Jordi Xammar out in front. It's going to be really, really tight as we head down this course. Small manoeuvrings going to make a big difference. Here we go. New Zealand into the turn.
Spain makes the turn at gate number 2.
Great to see the Spanish team in the lead. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to make the final regardless.
Oh, France cutting right in front of Great Britain. You wonder if the protest button's being hit.
Oh, that's a tight moment in there in the background. United States, they turn left. Jimmy Spittle, the boat's tipping over, he heads away. He splits the course with New Zealand. It's all on for this battle for the podium. We're going to get Emily Nagao to get her mathematics hat on in a moment, because these points are going to be so close.
Penalty Switzerland, relative
right
New Zealand, not giving room at the boundary.
Big moment there. That's good news for New Zealand, but New Zealand do look slow at the moment as Spain, out in the front of the pack, they're just sailing away at the moment, and they've got space on the racecourse, as has Contalo de la Pierre on board France, and that's going to be good news for them in their hope of getting to the final.
Current positions would have the British team, the French team, and right now it's a battle between Australia and USA for the final spot.
How does Tom Slingsby do it? I mean, I'd written him off about 10 minutes ago.
Copy that. And breaking news, you see in the distance there, Denmark has retired from the race. They've got issues on board, so they will pull off. Good news for the American team. That's one less team they have to battle for to try to get in the top 3. But right now it is Spain, France, Australia, Great Britain, and the USA, the top 5.
Well, we see there one more turn by the Australians trying to keep some space. They're going to surely have the French boat making sure they don't give them too much space. It's looking good on board Australia, though. Lucy Copeland at the back of the boat, head out of the boat, spinning around on a swivel, trying to look for space. Spain, they're moving along nicely, parallel to that yellow ley line. They should be quite well lined up as we see the mid-fleet battle. New Zealand, they've got space as well. Good news for New Zealand fans out there as we see now the head-to-head. Fly time for Spain. Well, they're in the lead 100%. France and Australia, that's the battle for the podium. And you can see as soon as you're not leading the race, it's a lot harder to have that 100% flight time. Leaderboard on the left, Spain in the lead, France second, Australia, New Zealand, USA third, fourth and fifth. And that's the battle for the podium. It's really tight. New Zealand are very, very much back in this. But can the United States and Jimmy Spithill hold them off? And what's Tom Slingsby got up his sleeve?
They're coming in fast into this next gate. This is race 6. The next race will be the top 3 in the podium race as we check in down on the water now with Lisa Darmanin.
Well, it is a tight battle for that top 3, but something very disappointing is the Danish team. They got off that start line, but they just did not turn down at Mark 1. It looks like they're having technical difficulties. The chase boat's just gone over to them, and they're dead in the water, so a really disappointing day for them.
For those 3 spots in the podium race, which will be coming up shortly. The Americans around safe around that gate. It is the Americans in 5. They now slide back to 6 as Great Britain picks up another spot, and New Zealand moves ahead of the Americans as well.
And here's that race to the final. GBR obviously with their spot in, the French as well, but the USA team in by a hair with just 1 point advantage over Australia.
The Australians currently sitting in 3rd in this race, but remember, it's the overall after the 6 races. The top 3 will go into that final to battle out for the title here in Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas.
Well, here we go. As we look at our ladder lines, we see this is a real battle. Australia need to get past France to have a hope of beating the United States as it stands at the moment. One more turn. The French have the right of way. Spain, well, they're just boosting away, showing the quality that young Spanish crew have got. French have the right of way. What's Tom Slingsby going to do? He is a little bit behind. Will he split the course, or is he going to play it safe and follow the French boat? I think now it's time to roll the dice and anticipate a left turn from Tom Slingsby on the Australian boat.
France is around quickly. Slingsby's going to split the course on this one. You remember that last leg, the Americans went for that side and they slowed down considerably, so we'll see if the wind picks up for the Aussies. It's a fast rounding by Australia. In the pack, Great Britain in 4th. New Zealand, they're up to 5th. It shows at the moment how well are they lined up for this gate. This could put New Zealand back in the race to make a place in the final here. It's really, really tight as this is going on now. USA showing a 7th at the moment. Ooh. What's happened to the United States? Can only assume there's been a bad boat handling error by the United States. They're right back in the pack. They've lost a lot of places. And as it stands at the moment, it's Australia in the final. Tied on points with New Zealand, but have the benefit of beating them in the last race. Any tie break is broken by the winner of the last race. They get the place in the final. So can Slingsby magic his way into it? That'd be unbelievable. Americans now mired back in 7th, 1 spot ahead of Canada and the defunct Denmark squad that had to pull off the course. So it's 8 boats out on the course racing. Spain way out in front. You see their lead almost 200 meters. France sitting in 2nd place. Really not consequential as far as the podium race goes. But what is Australia holding on to that 3rd place position. And they could, if they can pick up 1 more spot, Stevie, they're going to do themselves a solid. Yeah, that's right. We look on the bottom left and we look at the fly times. USA and Australia. Well, they're showing us 99%, but it's Great Britain. They're not maybe got the fly times, but they seem to be able to keep that speed up and sailing the boat tactically very well to minimise manoeuvres. If Great Britain were to overtake Australia, that's good news for New Zealand. So this is crucial, this mid-fleet race. Great Britain and Australia are close. And there's New Zealand, right-hand side of the screen, leg 5 or 6. Probably only 1 or 2 options left for New Zealand now. Can Slingsby nail his manoeuvre here? It's going to be so, so tight. A quick update from the umpires as well. The Danish had to retire because of a technical issue that was not their fault. And because of this, they will get a 6th place finish for this race.
Wow. Okay, right, now this is it. Great Britain turns the boat. They have the right of way. Slingsby's Australia needs to know that he's clear ahead. I think he is. Can he make it to this next gate with no more turns? I think he might just get there. New Zealand needs to overtake Great Britain to have a hope of making the final.
Spain, France, Australia, and New Zealand. Great Britain now slides into 4th place.
Good leg up into the wind there from the Australian boat. As they turn away from the wind, the drag reduces, the boat speeds increase. This is going to be a fast leg down here, leg 6 or 7. Now, and New Zealand have to overtake Great Britain to make the final.
It's all on here. Australia, New Zealand tied with points, as we said. It's all down to New Zealand getting this next position and jumping in front of the Australian team.
So keep your eye on the Kiwis and the Aussies. Right now it's Peter Burling and New Zealand sitting in 5th place. Happy to be following Great Britain, but they've got to get on their horse and go. There you see in the distance, in 3rd place, it is Tom Slingsby and the 2-time reigning and defending champions. Aussies trying to maintain that position. And Stevie, to your point, this would be typical Slingsby to pull the rabbit out of the hat and find somehow to get himself into the final.
Oh, Todd, I wrote him off about 15 minutes ago, didn't I? I thought he was absolutely done, but that shows my maths isn't up to scratch because Tom Slingsby's found a way as it stands. He's got no opportunity to make a mistake, though, from here. He's got to sail smooth and clean, and that's exactly what this young Spanish boat's done.
Spain picks up the victory in race number 6. Good momentum builder for them as they take a look to the next season. And once again, it'll be France coming through this gate, making that right-hand turn and then heading to the finish line. France will finish in 2nd. So it's Spain, France, and now the math begins as the Aussies close behind will finish behind them in 3rd place.
That was French, so I'm really, really happy. Good job by Quentin de la Pierre, and here come the Australians. I think they've done enough, unless Great Britain falls off the foils, which seems a bit hard to believe at this point. Would you Adam and Eve it? That's incredible here. Just incredible comeback from the Australians. What a story. And Peter Burling and his New Zealand crew, they're going to finish in 5th, but I think it's too little. Amazing.
We are going to have a big final race out there between the French, the British, and the Australian team. It is going to be all to play for again.
Good performance there by the Swiss. Nice solid weekend for the Swiss team. They'll be happy. They've been very much in the mix here. Perhaps not the fireworks they would have liked to have had, but they're definitely in the game, and so disappointed as we see the United States coming across in 7th. Oh, they were so comfortable. Look, they look dejected on there. Erica at the back of the boat looks absolutely gutted. Jimmy, Paul Campbell, James. Yeah, bad luck, guys. Well, whether it was bad luck or who knows, we didn't really see enough, but something went terribly wrong on that downwind leg. They lost a lot of places.
And for Canada, I mean, they started off this thing, race number 1, getting the win, and they finished the last race in last place. So Canada certainly needing to find their consistency. They want to be in the top 3, but it's all set to go in the podium race. It'll be Great Britain, France, and Australia battling out for the title here in Dubai.
It's been a tough weekend for the Spanish team, but this final start they absolutely nailed. Maybe got a little bit lucky, but nailed. All the teams up on the foils fairly early before the start, 40 seconds to go, and they were up on the foils. But as they all approached the line, they started to realize how early they were. New Zealand dropping off the foils, holding up Australia and slowing down the rest of that bunch up at the top end of the line. Meanwhile, further back, the Spanish and USA teams were up and foiling towards the line. The USA team picked a fairly big gap. Well, the Spanish team went pretty punchy and picked the tiny gap between the Spanish and the Kiwis, but boy, did it pay off. 5k an hour faster at the gun than everyone else.
We are down to the final race. It will be the podium race here at the Dubai Sail Grand Prix.